What's good, everybody? Happy New Year and welcome into Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. You guys already know the vibes. If you are watching us on YouTube, don't feel afraid to listen to us on the go using your podcast app, and particularly if you use the Audacy app. And obviously, if you're using the Audacy app to listen to us, just know that you could use YouTube as well to watch us. All the commentary, all the 5-star reviews, all are appreciated. And with that being said, you guys already know what we do. We are joined by 3-time NBA champion. But this time around, particularly if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that we have a guest with us. We have 5-time WNBA All-Star, 2-time WNBA Scoring Champion, and 2-time gold medalist. Danny, she's doing numbers. Angel McCoughtry joining us. Happy New Year, Angel. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. What's the deadline on saying Happy New Year? I think 2 weeks.
Yeah. I want to say.
I want to say a week. I want to say a week, man. But yeah, that's.
I'll give it 2. You know?
A week and a half is cool. So by January 10th, okay. So we can have January 10th.
I say like you could go. Honestly, if it's the first time that you are seeing somebody, I feel like you can go into the end of January, bro.
Absolutely not.
Nah,
absolutely not.
We're gonna give it like this weekend, and then that's probably it.
You get a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks top. 2 weeks top.
So you're just telling me I can't wish you a Happy New Year then? It's null.
If it's January 30th,
void after January 15th, right? So I'm no longer wishing you a Happy New Year. I don't mean it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. If you haven't texted it at this point, if you haven't talked to that person on the phone, if y'all ain't seen each other, then y'all ain't that close, and you don't need to be saying Happy New Year a month later. Nah. 3 weeks. You get 2 weeks, at most 2 weeks. I said 10 days. Y'all haven't communicated in that 10 days. Yeah.
But life happens. Life happens.
There's phones, there's planes, trains, automobiles, there's all types of technology. If y'all haven't come across one of those platforms on social media or, anywhere of saying Happy New Year, if that didn't happen in the first 10 days of the new year, it's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap.
Angel, one of your friends texts you a week from now saying Happy New Year. What are you going to say?
I'm going to say, baby. Listen, we done had fires and it's been
yeah. Where the hell you been? The new year ain't that happy anymore. We done started the new year off with a lot of Armageddon type stuff going on over here. So
that is true. And before I want to let you guys know that we will discuss a number of NBA topics throughout the course of the next 30 to 45 minutes. Jimmy Butler wants out of Miami. Bradley Beal, not necessarily making it easy for him to go to Phoenix, which is for his preferred destination. The Oklahoma City Thunder have been balling, even though they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And we have a new league starting called the Unrivaled League, a 3-on-3 league comprised of a lot of WNBA stars. Can't wait to discuss that as well. But first and foremost, we have to just start with the news that has pretty much rocked our nation. The wildfires that are going rampant in Los Angeles right now. I know Danny and Angel, I believe you're both in Los Angeles area. Can you just describe, and we'll start with Angel first, what you're seeing and what everybody's kind of going through on that side?
Literally, this is something out of a movie. I don't know if you guys seen the movie This Is the End.
Yes.
Like it's literally like that. Like so I was driving to the gym and I just see fire all along the highway. I just couldn't believe my eyes. Like I even have it on my story. It's just pandemonium. And obviously my heart goes out to everyone who's lost, really important things, their homes. I know Airbnb.org, if you go on Airbnb.org, they are giving homes if you need a place to stay, and you can donate to these families as well.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's dope. But yeah, it really is any type of movie you think of, like end of the world type movie. This is the end. There's also TV series that we all watched where, Teslas are going crazy and fires and explosions. You don't really believe it or think it could happen to you until it's right down the street. You know what I'm saying? And you see it, you're like, oh, whoa, holy like this is actually happening. Luckily, I'm in a safe area. Angel, her people are safe right now. We know people that aren't. We said thoughts and prayers out to the families that who lost their homes. Thankfully, most people got out with their lives. That's the most important thing. But we've seen friends, their parents losing their homes in other areas. You've seen Kawhi attending his family from the Pacific Palisades. JJ Redick, his house went up in like flames. A couple people's homes burned down. A bunch of celebrities that are over there. So it's very sad to see, man. But it's crazy, and you got to be thankful for the things that you do have, and that's most important to life. You're breathing. Still. So, we're doing what we can to extend a helping hand to help, especially our family and friends out. If you need space or need help. Last night I had to get my brother-in-law, who was at the bottom of the hills where another fight ignited. Luckily, he had time to grab some things and get him out. But he wasn't in crazy danger zone. But, if people are evacuating all over the place and just don't know where to go. But it's crazy to see, man, and you don't think it's real until I was going on my regular jog the other day, and you seeing ashes and the cloud, the sky is smoky black, and you feel like ashes on your eyelids and your eyelashes. Like, what the hell? Like, this might not be the safest thing to be working out. You can't even walk outside. I got a young little one, and usually go on daily walks, and the air is not as clean or as clear to do those things. There's a lot of bad things happening around Southern California area. The air quality is bad, but hopefully they get a hold on it. It seems like it's slowing down some areas. I don't know if they have control of it. I'm just hoping by the end of this week, it kind of just calms down and things can get somewhat back to normal. We'll never go back to normal because a lot of people lost too much. But at least the fires will stop. That'll help a lot. And they're doing as best they can to contain things, keeping it away from gas stations and things like that of that nature. But it really is a movie type of deal for a lot of people and families out there.
Yeah, and let me say one thing. When I say donate, I don't mean donate money, because obviously these were higher class homes. When I say donate, people are donating a room or their home just to have a place to sleep and stay.
Yeah, and a lot of people that said, my neighbors, they have family in other areas. They're like, they're just trying to find ways. Clothes, people that don't have clothes and things like that. The small things, toiletry. Obviously they can go to the store and get some of those things. But small things help. Some people had to get up and leave. They don't have cars. They don't have clothes. They just had to leave everything. Some people left their animals, their pets. Like we've seen horses being left, and so they really literally lost some family. Those are family members to people. It's a sad time.
Yeah, it is 100% unfortunate to see what has happened. I think at the very least, so we could all just keep everybody in their thoughts, in our prayers. And I do hope. I remember I lived in LA at one time too, and there have been wildfires before. Obviously, it's never to this nature, this magnitude rather yet. I just hope that going forward, whatever the factors that contributed to it being this massive, it becomes as integral to find out as helping the people who have obviously been devastated by this, because we don't want to see anything like this again. And I'm not a civil engineer, so I don't know how,
or a scientist or
anything like that. But we gotta person.
But there's some ways to prevent. Like I said, if there's ways to prevent from this from happening, there were some people were speaking. There are some preventative ways. We were not prepared. We didn't take the right actions because we just didn't think it would happen like this. And now it's here. Hopefully, it takes something like this to happen for people to take it seriously. So hopefully the next time, or it doesn't happen the next time, because we take the proper precautions in preventing a lot of these things from happening.
That is for sure. I will also say this, and I think both of you guys have brought out this point. While the final number in terms of casualties has not been stated or reported yet, it does feel like there's a route, considering the massive amount of damage that has been done to homes and property. It does feel like the death toll, the casualty toll, is rather low. Obviously, nobody wants to lose anything. Don't want to lose your home, your personal property, but I think both of you alluded that having your life is the most important thing. And it does feel like a lot of people were able to avoid this tragedy without, losing their life as well. So there is some type of saving grace, obviously not an ideal situation. What has been a tumultuous beginning to 2025. And I think, Danley, you alluded to it. There was that bombing in Bourbon Street on New Year's Day, right before the bowl game, the college bowl game.
And a dude, he drove his car through as well, right? Didn't he hit
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Well, he tried to set up some IEDs, and then he drove through Bourbon Street and ended up causing a number of casualties.
10 people?
Yeah, I believe the last number I saw was 10. And then you had the man who was in the front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas and blew up his Cybertruck. Or that's wild. I mean, I'm in New York City now, and a lot of people are complaining about congestion pricing, and it makes it seem also minuscule in the grand scheme of things, because what has happened to start this year is madness. That's for sure.
Well, hopefully we say it can only get better, but we hope it only gets better because things could get worse. But it's a hell of a start to the year, but let's hope it only gets better from here on out. So yes, but moving forward, H,
yes. Yeah,
we'll happier things in the world.
We'll move forward to some basketball things. And, while some people are happy watching the sport, there's some players who are not actually happy with the team that they're playing on. We'll get to that in just a moment. This is Inside the Green Room. In 3, 2, we're back like we left our car keys inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. And we have started the year with what we usually do this time of year, with basketball drama. Gotta love the NBA. With that being said, what's the drama this time around? Jimmy Butler, as Danny and I kind of predicted earlier in the season, is not happy being in Miami. And we can all assume it's because his contract has not been extended. He is eligible for a contract extension. He also has a $50 million player option for next year. But if you're Jimmy Butler, why get 1 year when you could potentially get multiple years? The reporting has said that the Phoenix Suns are interested in giving him a contract extension if he was to be traded to the Phoenix Suns. There are also reports that Kevin Durant would welcome Jimmy Butler with open arms. But hold up. In order for that to happen, how do you make Jimmy Butler's massive salary fit? Well, that would mean Bradley Beal more than likely would be on the way out. Here's the thing. The Miami Heat are not reportedly interested in Bradley Beal. What makes it even more complicated? Bradley Beal is one of 2 players, the other one being LeBron James, in the NBA with a no trade clause. So if you want to move Bradley Beal, he's got to say yes. And frankly, if I was Bradley Beal, it's going to be very hard to get me up out of Phoenix where the weather is nice and the talent around me is somewhat complimentary, particularly when I just came from the Washington Wizards. A lot is going on. I don't know how it all shakes out. And to add to all the drama that Jimmy Butler has induced to the Miami Heat, he was suspended for 7 games. The NBPA is going to appeal that. We'll see what happens. Nonetheless, he isn't playing right now and won't be playing again for the Heat at least until after the trading deadline. Drama, 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 always in the National Basketball Association. Angel, I'll go to you first. What are your thoughts on where we stand?
Let me say this first, okay? Y'all have more drama than the WNBA, and we're a bunch of women, okay?
We do.
Jimmy, focus. I think Jimmy should still be playing right now until he gets traded. Just be a professional. Just show them like, hey, I'm above all this. I don't like when people say, oh, Pat Riley is ruined. No, Pat Riley to me has always been professional, always done things the right way. Now, y'all know Jimmy been playing around a little bit. Jimmy, I love you. You know you're friends, but stop playing. Okay, let's keep going. Now it's like, what team are you going to go to? Who's going to say like, all right, let's deal with Jimmy's antics. Just be professional, man. Let's finish this thing strong. But where do you guys see him? Who's going to pick Jimmy up right now? That's the question.
I think there's a lot of teams that would like him. I do agree with you. Being professional, especially at this point in your career, is very important because he already had a past. And they say history repeats itself. He's already had history with other teams of causing a stink in certain situations. You want to show that you've grown and matured and done things. So we all love Jimmy. I think Jimmy's a great player. And I think he could fit in some places. Obviously Golden State was looking at him. He had a couple teams on the list that he was willing and opening the door to. And Phoenix was one of them. Golden State was one of them. I think maybe Denver and somebody else. I saw Memphis being one of the teams trying to get him as well. And maybe even back to Philly. We don't know. But the way he's going about it is not the right way. And so we all know why it's happening. He wanted the extension. Pat was like, look, man, we like you here. You've done a lot for this organization, but you're just not available enough for us to give you that max extension. And as a businessman, I can't disagree with that. Obviously, I'm always sided with the players, and I want them to get their money and get the contracts. But from the business side of it, it's like, why would you invest in someone that is not available as much as you want him to be during the regular season, you're always in the playing spot. When you're a team that just was in the finals, you should definitely be in the top 6. You're good enough. You know you're good enough to be in the top 6 and not have to worry about coming down to the play-in and playing for 2 games to get into a 7 or 8 seed. It's like, all right, we got to win this game when it shouldn't come down to that. So I get both sides of it. I know Jimmy would fit in Phoenix well. I think he would fit in Golden State, in kind of a super Draymond role maybe. And Memphis would be good for him. Denver could be solid for him. But ultimately said Miami not trade him until they get what they want. Like, unless those teams have pieces that they're willing to give up or pieces that we want. Yeah, Bradley Beal's a good player, but we have Tyler Hero, right? We have Terry Rozier. Why would we want another Bradley Beal or older version of Tyler Hero? Like, Brad's very good still, but him and Tyler are very much the same type of player. And he could add to them, but they may seem like, we may not need that. We may not want that. We want something different. So unless other teams are willing to give up pieces like Golden State giving up a Kuminga and then some, which I don't see them doing it, which is wild. Miami's like, we're not just going to trade you just because you're going to have to sit here and either play or don't play. Or, I can see Pat's an old school guy. He's going to be stubborn enough to say, look, I'm willing to miss the playoffs for this. I'm willing to do whatever until we get what we want, or until you said you're not going to outdo me. You're not going to beat me in this game. And it said, I just think it also kind of hurts the game in the league today because too many players have started, following the trend of, I don't like where I'm at. I just want to be traded. I want to get out. It's not only doing it in NBA, it's in other sports too. You see it with Tyreek Hill. It's like, you just got maxed out. He's like, I want out. It's like, what's going on here? You're not happy. You just dip. And then they're like, all right, I'm going to sit out until I get traded. Like, I just don't like the trend of this. Like, you can say I want to be moved somewhere. I would like to play somewhere. Talk with the front office. Have that conversation. You handle it professionally. They might look for things. If you do it at the media, I think it causes a stink and it causes mess and distraction in the locker room. Extra added distractions that you don't need with your group. But yeah, we'll see what Jimmy has. Ultimately, I don't think Pat's gonna give in to him. So unless those teams give up something great.
Yeah, that's a good point you made too. A lot of guys are just saying, "Oh, I don't like it here," and then they just like, I wanna leave. And it's causing that kind of issue also in the NIL and in college. These kids are transferring like crazy. And it's like, sometimes you got to stick through the funk and get through the storm because there's a sunshine at the end of the storm. The grass is not always greener on the other side, guys. So you can't say every time you don't like something, I'm just want to get up and leave. You're not going to always like your boss. You're not going to always like everything that happens. Am I right, guys?
That's 90% of life. You're not going to like your job. You're not going to like your boss, your coworkers, but they'll find out how not green the grass is when they get to the other side. So, sometimes it may be, but most of the time it's not that green on the other side, but they'll soon find out when they get there.
I understand the viewpoint that both of you guys are laying out, but we also just have to also consider reality. If Jimmy Butler is understanding that the Phoenix Suns are one of the few teams, if maybe the only team, that will not only want to trade for him, but give him the contract extension, just like somebody who's hooping at the University of Michigan, and they say, hey, we only got $400,000 for you, but Arizona says I got $1.2 million. Maybe they should stay at Michigan for their character development, for all the other things that you're alluding to. But in a world that we live in, dollar bills pay, y'all. And
I don't disagree with you.
And that's not.
And that's what it is. Unfortunately for Jimmy, you can't just leave like college. I just, I'm transferring, I'm going. This team has a lot more control of what happens. Unless you want to wait till after your deal is up, that's a different story. But by that time, is that offer going to be on the table?
That's the thing.
The group that you're with now can really stick you and be like, we're just going to hold you until your value is down or you're not going to get paid. By the time you look for that extension now, you're already 36, 37. Are they really going to give you that extension now? Are they going to pay? You could have, if you would have played nice and handled it differently and came to us and talked to us, I'll go into the media, we would have found a situation better for you and went that route. But because you did this, you know what? We're not trading you unless we get what we want. We don't care what you want. We don't care how many, little whatever things he's doing. He's little things he's playing. Yeah, his little antics with the media. It's like, bro, we don't care about those antics. We'll lose games. We're already losing games, so we'll lose games if we're not getting our $50 million worth of money out of you or somewhere else that we feel is worth $50 million from a group that's going to, exchange that. So college, you can go. NBA, no, we got your rights. We hold on to you right now.
So
you
Angel,
have a contract with us.
So Angel, here's the complication though, because even if Jimmy Butler can make it happen and he gets Phoenix Suns to say, yeah, we want you on board and we have a contract extension with you. Kevin Durant wants you here. Devin Booker wants you here. Mike Budenholzer says he can make it work. You still have the Bradley Beal side of things, who has a no trade clause. So in order for this deal to go down, he's got to say yes. Now, I'm posing this question to you first because you're somebody who was a star in the league when you were there, being a two-time WNBA Scoring Champion, 5-time All-Star. If you're in this situation, if you're Bradley Beal, you're a talented player. Now they've put you on the bench. Now there's a logistical reason for that. Maybe there's just too many scores in the starter lineup. It allows for more balance on the roster. But it's also saying, oh, are you doing this to try and push me out to get me to waive my no trade clause? If you're Bradley Beal, a celebrated scorer now, granted he hasn't won an NBA title or anything like that, but he should be a prideful player. How would you feel about your organization potentially trying to push you out of the team and trying to force you to waive your no trade clause?
Hey, that's a good point. I feel like for all of that, I could have stayed in DC and been a star if y'all gonna just try to push me out, put me on the bench, and then does Miami really want me? I only want to go where I'm wanted, right? So
and reportedly, Miami doesn't want him.
So
it would have to be like a 3-team deal.
And this is why I have my no trade clause in my contract. It's a no. Y'all ain't about to do like that. I'm too important of a player. I'm a star. You're not going to treat me like some random.
Yeah.
But would you want to stick somewhere where they don't want you? Like if they're telling you, we value this player more than you, and we really want you to go, we're going to put you on the bench. If you're Bradley Beal, I could understand him saying, no, you're not going to force me to do something I don't want to do. But I could also see Bradley Beal saying, yo, y'all don't mess with me? Fine. I don't mess with y'all.
I don't mess with y'all. I could see that. I would feel that same way. But it's like, okay, but you're going to take me out of this Jimmy Butler trade. Let me go somewhere else. I'm talking to
where I want to go. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right, DG?
All right. I'm with you on that. Now, there's a couple ways that I look at it, right? And I'm a positive person. I like to look at the optimistic side of things. And I'm not looking at it as a downgrade or a demotion, right? So I'm looking at it as, if I'm talking to Bud, why am I coming off the bench? If it's like, because I think you'll be more effective. His first game off the bench, 25 points. Obviously, last night they lost to Charlotte. He didn't shoot well. But I feel like the second unit is his. He could be that great 6-man role. He could still be a third option. He just come off the bench because you got Book getting a lot of shots, Katie getting a lot of shots, Ty is setting the table. Realistically, that just makes you a 3-and-D guy like myself. I don't know if y'all seen, but I caught a straight. Kent Bazemore was talking about it. But it's common. You look at me as a 3-and-D guy. So Bradley Beal's not a 3-and-D guy, but with that group, you're a 3-and-D guy. You come off the bench like, this is our best way of winning. So it's like, all right, if I can play, be effective, and win, it's a better situation for me. But if you guys don't want me, which we don't know for sure if that's the case, and you're trying to demote me, I don't know how that conversation went. Now it's a demotion. Then it's like, I'm opening the door to anywhere. Obviously, Miami's not a bad city. It is tax friendly.
But Miami doesn't want him.
A lot of people don't mind living there. There are a lot worse places to be traded. Now, you can try to get to other places, but if you don't want those teams that you're interested in, those other teams aren't interested as well, I'm okay with being in Miami. Then also, you got to look down the line. What is my playing career length that I want to play? Like, how much longer do I want to be playing this game? He's made enough money. You know what I'm saying? Do I need another big contract extension? This, in his mind, might be my last big deal, which is fine. You just play out this contract and then sign to wherever you want to sign to, probably for a less amount of money to a winning team after that. But ultimately, you can end up still being in Miami. But I said, I'm looking at it more so as, I don't look at this as demotion. I think this is me coming off the bench, is us getting a chance. We spoke about this before, H, and I spoke about this on multiple platforms, that this was a decision that was going to be a tough one, but needed to be made at some point. So one of those guys was going to have to come off the bench at some point. And I thought it was going to be Brad because he was just the odd man out. But I said I would look at it as like, this is my opportunity to win here. I can stay here, still make my money, win here. And if we do win, I'm sure they'll sign me back. Maybe not a max extension, but I can still make my money in here. But if they don't want me here, then I don't want to be here either. So I would just play it out in Miami, and then I could pick wherever I want to go at that point. And it's going to be cheaper. But it's like, look, I already made my money. I want to win at this point. You can find out what fit is best for you and do that way.
But it's hard. It's hard to accept that. I'll go back to your career, Danny. It's hard to accept. It would be hard for Manu Ginobili to accept that Danny Green is starting in front of him if he also knows that the front office is also willing to trade him or trying to trade him. I think that's what makes – I can't be a team player if you're not being a team player with me.
Yes, it is tough. Listen, man, beggars can't be choosers. We got to, play the hand that is dealt with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the hand that's dealt. Realistically, like, listen, you are a little bit older. You're still not old, but you've had injuries, right? You're still a scorer. We're not looking at it as a demotion. We're opening the door because we think a trade could have – and a lot of times coaches don't have – say-so in trades. Front offices have some, but this could be an owner. And we know how involved Matt Ishbia has been in this situation of recruiting guys, getting guys there, and trade talk. So this might be out of the coach's hands at this point. So I don't think they're like, oh, we want to trade you, but they're just saying it's open. And I think everybody in this league knows that they're open for trade. There's less than 1% of guys that's not open for trades. Everybody else is open for trades, so in his mind, it's like, I know that they're open to trading me. They're open to trading anybody. But, the best bet for me to be effective and to keep my value or to raise my value and show that I'm still the player I am is playing with this second unit group and come off the bench and still be able to operate the way that I used to operate in DC.
Yeah. I think obviously the situation right now, I think it hurts both teams. One, because Miami just doesn't have Jimmy Butler in the lineup, and who knows how he performs when he comes back. Mind you, he could still opt into a $50 million option for next year. So even if he comes back and doesn't play up to his optimal level, he'll just opt into the $50 million. It's still going to be on the table. So he still holds a lot of cards. Obviously, Bradley Beal holds cards in his situation, having the no trade clause. So even if he's just not feeling the vibe there no more, he can really just do what he wants to do until they find a trade partner that he likes. So it's not ideal for both sides. I think it's sad when you just look at the grand scheme of the NBA and you're looking at a team like the Phoenix Suns, in a year where there's a lot of noise about the ratings being down and the quality of the play not being up to par, XYZ. I think it's personally a damn shame that a team with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, as it presently stands, Angel, is outside of the play-in in the Western Conference. You know what would help the NBA ratings? If Kevin Durant was on a top 3 team in the NBA, and somehow, some way, he's not.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. It's no excuse for that with all the talent they have. But I do feel that we need to find a solution for this Jimmy Butler situation first. I think the Bradley Beal situation can wait just a little bit longer, but Jimmy needs to get on out of there. It's too much drama. He needs to just get the team. And the Heat need to find a player that can help them right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they need to do. But yeah.
I'm with you on that, and I agree. And I think the biggest thing that's hurting the ratings, yes, the stars need to be on better teams. Phoenix started out great. So did Golden State. They started out really great. We want Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron James on the better teams, and we want them in the playoffs. What's really hurting the ratings is guys sitting out and not playing because they want to be traded. Guys having injuries. Listen, ratings would be great if Jimmy showed up every night. If we know certain guys, but we don't know who's playing when. We don't know who's going to show up. I'm glad that Kawhi's back. I was excited I didn't know when the timeline was, but I did a segment at ESPN. They're like, what are you excited for in the new year? And I'm like, I don't even know. I'm excited. I don't know who's coming back. I'm excited for who might be in the lineup next. Want to see Luka come back. Luka and Kyrie are out right now, but they still got a big win against the Lakers the other night. But, we want to see those guys hooping. We want to see Zion just came back. We want to see healthy teams. That's when basketball's at its best, when all the stars are playing. We've had a rough year of injuries all year long. And on top of that, we don't need guys saying, oh, I don't want to play, or I'm not happy here, I want to be traded. Like, that doesn't help either. So, yes, helping the ratings would have Kevin Durant on the top 3, and they were great, had a great record with him. He's been injured as well, some here and there. Without him, they're very bad. But we need these guys to be playing and available on the court.
Or maybe it's just time to embrace the new blood. And I bring up the new blood because I want to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yes, on Wednesday night, they did lose to the Cavaliers, but they did have a number of impressive wins going into that matchup. They had beaten the Cavaliers at home, came back and beat the Boston Celtics, also beat the New York Knicks. They're taking on the New York Knicks on Friday night in Madison Square Garden. They have an absolutely stacked roster, obviously featured with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. One thing to be noted, Chet Holmgren has missed a multitude of games so far as he has an injury. He's reportedly should be back by after the All-Star break. This team could very well be the next up. I think it's just a matter of us acknowledging that and maybe them getting to the promised land in the playoffs so that we could really put the stamp of approval on them. With that being said, Angel, I'm just curious what your evaluation is of the Thunder and what would they have to achieve, in your opinion, for it to be considered a successful season? Mind you, they lost in the second round last year to the Mavericks.
I think they're kind of already achieving it. I mean, I love watching them play. They're young, they're hungry, they don't have egos, and now they have the experience, the playoff experience from last year, losing in the second round. Watch out for them this year.
Yeah.
And even it's good, but OKC, watch out for those young guys. Chet, yes, keep yourself healthy. You're too young to keep getting injured. Do what you got to do. Put 5 pounds on because they're going to need you. Once he comes back, it's a wrap.
It's spooky. It's spooky. I having this conversation. We all have these conversations every day, H. We have group chats. We have barbershop talk. Everybody saying who could win it, who can upset Boston, who can do it. And everybody talks about, OKC needing a vet or experience. They're not going to get it done. Cleveland, same. I think both these two teams are ready right now.
Yeah.
I mean, even though OKC lost, they were on a 15-game winning streak without Chet. They get Chet back. He had a fracture, I think, was his hip or something, or fibula. So he fractured something, and he's been out. Them winning this many games, I had clear Jokic MVP. SGA went crazy the last 2 weeks. I'm really second-guessing my MVP vote here now because of how crazy he's been going and how well they've been winning. They're separating themselves, both these two teams, 30-4, 31-6. They're way ahead of the pack, and they're showing that they have enough to get it done. And I think Cleveland's good enough to probably beat Boston. They also show signs of injuries all the time. Porzingis is always out. Drew had an injury, Derek White. Some guys have been all, but Porzingis is always a guy that's out. And that dictates a lot of what happens with Boston. Al Horford is a great player, but he's older. He's not going to be able to, keep that going and fill those minutes that Porzingis is out like that. OKC is the real deal, man. It's really spooky to see what they could be or what they will be when Chet comes back. For them to be on a 15-game winning streak, and Cleveland, they're winning games with certain guys not playing great. Don had a terrible game the other night. They beat OKC. You got guys like Ty Jerome, Max Strus coming off the bench, giving key big minutes, big points off the bench. They just depth. They find it in different ways. Both of these groups are playing like team basketball. They have a really good identity, and they're good enough to beat OKC beat anybody in the West. And I can see Cleveland doing the same in a 7-game series, especially with the fact that Boston's always never 100% healthy. Philly, we know, is never 100%. Knicks, Tibbs is known to run those guys some minutes. So we hope that they're healthy. I would love to see that matchup. But both these groups, especially OKC, these are the teams that, of the future. These teams are going to be the guys in contention every year for the next 2 or 3 years. They keep them together. If they can keep them together and pay everybody, which it looks like they're trying to do. They have enough picks to last them 20 years. I think we're going to see these teams in the finals for the next, couple of years to come.
Scary to think that OKC is also in the market at the trading deadline. Thanks to the trade with the Los Angeles Clippers, they have a wealth of draft picks from the Paul George trade, so they can get even more ridiculously stacked going into the playoffs. I do think I want to get back to the Cavaliers with you, Danny, in a moment, but I want to go to Angel first on the Thunder. So there are some people who believe that as good as the Thunder are, that they are flawed or they're relying on things that won't necessarily benefit them in the playoffs, or they're devout of things that can help them in the playoffs. Even to this day, they're still not recognized statistically as a great rebounding team. Now, some might say, okay, when Chet Holmgren comes back, you add him with Isaiah Hartenstein, they should be able to be at least middle of the pack, if not better than majority of the league when it comes to rebounding. But here's another thing that they do that I don't know will last in the playoffs. They are number one in the league as it pertains to forcing turnovers and deflections and all of those things that lead to points in transition. But Angel, I feel like if that is such a quintessential thing that you do in the regular season, you should expect a drop off in the playoffs when teams know the defensive coverages that you want to do, and you're just going against better point guards on a per possession basis who can take control of the game. I think them drawing points from turnovers and relying heavily on isolation half-court scoring is a gift in the regular season, but could be a curse in the postseason. What do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think those things are do or die. I think those are things you can fix immediately. I think by the playoffs, you're supposed to be a better team by that time. So if they're not rebounding and running by that time, then yes, I would say worry, but I think that's something they're going to fix by the playoffs.
I don't think they need to fix it a ton. And you said they're better. You said they rely on half-court scoring, H? Is that what you said?
They rely on points off turnovers, and they rely on half-court isolation scoring.
That second point gives them an advantage to me. The game slows down in the playoffs. So if you can score in a half-court set, that gives. They're young, they're active, they're going to get deflections. They may not be at top, but their defense is one of the best in the league. I think if I had to take a guess and look at Cleveland, there's a lot more sets in the playoffs. You know, every possession matters. It depends on the flow. Some teams try to speed it up, but you know the game. They're not going to call as many fouls. Like, James used to get a lot of fouls. They can let you play more physical, but the possessions are more. It's not pickup anymore. Guys are locked in. Teams know coverages. They're going to be smarter with possessions. So in my mind, there's going to be a lot more half-court sets in the playoffs than there would in the regular season. So I think that gives them an advantage. Yes, with Chet coming back, Isaiah and Chet, I think is enough. But to me, it comes down to defense. These two teams, them and Cleveland, if I had to guess, they're the top of the league because defensively they're very good. They give themselves a chance every night defensively because they're active, they're young, they get after it. They got Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe, all these guys coming in. Chet Holmgren said they were number one in steals, the blocks, deflections. Like, obviously, the blocks went down when Chet went out, but they were number one in the league in a lot of these categories. And that, to me, I don't think changes much. If they don't rebound, guess what? They're still number one in the league right now. They're rebounding enough to beat these teams. They're going to beat the Minnesotas. Minnesota's not the same team anymore. Dallas has to get healthy, but I could see them finding they lost. They took a tough loss last year, but that was what they needed. This year, I think they get over that hump, and we could be looking at the team that's coming out of the West, this year.
Yeah, it's definitely on the table. I think I'm going to reserve my judgment for how far I think they can go until after the trade deadline. Because, hey, listen, man.
You got to know. We want to predict.
I don't know what they're going to do.
I want to see what they look like in March. No.
It's not about the Thunder. It's about the competition. What if, let's say, the Memphis Grizzlies go out there and they get somebody a nice 3-and-D player like a Kyle Kuzma, or they get a Cam Johnson.
As good as Memphis is, they still need a year of being, getting their lumps like Minnesota did last year.
For sure. You don't know. Minnesota could get back in the trade market and upgrade the situation. Who knows?
Over for Minnesota.
I'm just
Unless
saying,
they get Cat back, it's a wrap for Minnesota.
I don't make any predictions until after the trading deadline because I got to know what the rosters look like. I think.
What is the trade deadline? What is the trade deadline?
The trade deadline is February 4th or February 8th.
So we got 1 month.
All-Star. All-Star.
I got about 3.5. I got 4 weeks.
H is playing it safe, man. It's scared to make a prediction here.
Bro. If all of a sudden Julius Randle is no longer in the Timberwolves and they added, I'm just throwing this out there. If they added Nikola Jokic, obviously it would never happen. I'm just saying it changes the whole way you think about it.
The trade deadline is now. Who's your prediction if it was cut right now?
He's not going to give us one. He's playing safe. So February 6th is the trade deadline.
If it was right now, coming out of the East, I would still pick the Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. Out of the West, I would go OKC. Yeah, I would.
And I honestly, I'm with you with that. because I think Cleveland needs a year of taking their lumps in the playoffs. They have taken some, but they just haven't gotten I think they go to Eastern Conference Finals and end up playing Boston somehow in Eastern Conference Finals. And I think Boston will be healthy enough during that time to get Cleveland, but I think Cleveland is capable and have the pieces to beat them. I just think the coaching, the maturity, the experience for those young guys, they need it like Minnesota did last year to get lumped up, to come back with a chip in the shoulder the following year, to make it to the finals the year after that. So Boston goes, but I got OKC upsetting Boston.
Well, I got it in seven games though. For sure, 7.
That's all we
I got
hope
in
for.
6.
Give me.
Yeah, we hope for 7. But I got it in 6.
Based on the
Boston,
playoffs.
Well, actually, because OKC would have home court advantage.
Based on the playoffs that we got last year, I don't care what the matchups are. We just need 7-game series because last year's playoffs, there were a lot of injuries and a lot of quick series. I was not a happy camper at all. Hopefully, hopefully that changes this time around. I did want to get to one more thing before we do go, though, because it's not just the NBA that's on our hoops mind. It's also the Unrivaled League that is starting on January 19th, I believe that is. So not too far away from now, where you're going to have some of the top players in the WNBA playing in 3-on-3 play in Miami. And I think it's fascinating for a multitude of things. Number one, we saw the rise in WNBA ratings over this past summer with the inclusion of players like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and a lot of eyeballs were on the league. But we also just saw it being even more popular as somebody who works in sports wagering, even in the betting handle. There was a significant interest in the league in betting on women's basketball. And I wonder if the betting markets will be open to the Unrivaled League. We'll see how that goes. But I also think what's interesting as well, and this is where you get into the business of basketball, from my understanding, and Angel, you could probably help clarify this for me, the CBA at the end of this upcoming WNBA season the players can back out of it. Now, if they back out of it, most times, if something like this would happen, particularly, let's say if it happened in the NFL, you would be worried for the players in the league because they're losing out on money. They're losing out on FaceTime and things of this nature. I think this is why the Unrivaled League is so well-timed, because in lieu of a potential CBA dispute, with also the rising popularity of the women's game, this keeps the women's popularity still very much present during what could be a very much a tumultuous year in the WNBA, while it's still very much still gaining popularity. So much going on. And obviously just having 3-on-3 basketball is just fun, particularly when you're having some of the best players in the world competing. What are your thoughts on all of that as we try to break down the Unrivaled League?
It's a lot.
It definitely helps with that. When we go overseas, we kind of get lost in translation. People kind of forget about us until we come back in the summer. And what this league has shown is that we can get the brands behind us. We can get some of the top girls in the world in this league. So it's just amazing, man. Like, so I can't wait to watch January 7th. I believe on ESPN, you can watch some of your favorite players. And
7th or the
CBA,
17th? 17th.
17th.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the CBA, right? We definitely have some negotiations with that, and we need to like really get that on board. Like for myself, right? I'm not playing right now. And like, DG, you know this. You guys get the pension for health insurance. I don't have health insurance because I'm not playing in the league, right? So it's like, man, I go get a teeth cleaning. I got to go pay what, $250 or $300.
Your tenure doesn't, because they should at some point, if you have enough tenure, it should come. They don't have that yet.
I have none of that. So I have no health insurance. Those are some of the things that like you guys have the pension. You know what I mean? We don't have those little things. So that's stuff that needs to be negotiated in this new CBA. Obviously, we got the pregnancy issue underway. That's a little bit better, certain things. But, man, it's going to be some negotiations. Now, do I think that girls are going to sit out? No, it's too much money in women's basketball right now to be sitting out. But I do think there's going to be some major negotiations because the level has risen. The price has gone up, guys. So this CBA needs to get better.
Yesterday's price is not today's price. I'm all for it. I love it. But I love where it's grown. Obviously, there's some more things that need to be changed and needs to grow in certain areas as you speak on, of course, with the alum. And that's where we come into play. There's a lot of things, or there's some things happening in the summertime. You guys' season is in summertime, but there's a lot of ways for us to get involved. And it's on us to also push and get on the platforms and not only spread awareness, but to show not only to the world, but to brands how important it is, or how important you guys are and how big you guys are going to be in the near future. So yeah, I think the Unrivaled League is going to be dope. I can't wait to see where that takes off. I hope it gets to a point where you guys don't have to go overseas. We got to find a way to where you guys can just stay here and play, have more teams, because there's a lot of talent out there that's not even in the league. I've gone to, I don't know if you know this or not, Angel, I do some prison visits here and there, and we take in groups of people to hoop with the prisoners. And we have some young ladies that come in, and one of them, very good. She went to USC and hooped. Destiny, she's dope. And I'm like, how are you not in the league? And I'm like, I see women all the time, like, how are you not playing? How are you not hooping? It's not enough teams. We need more teams. We need more extension. We need more games. And eventually said it'll get to that point, and hopefully sooner than later. But I said, I'm going to try to do my part as best I can, and hopefully, get other guys along. But it's on us to also help push that and let them know. And I think guys are doing it in a great way. I love to see everybody has podcasts and they're talking about it, and having these topics and these debates, of course, of this, who was what and who was where and who's better. So yeah, it can only go up. Hopefully it continues to go up sooner than later. And said hopefully we get some of these things fixed for you guys in place where you guys are comfortable when you're done playing, when you're retired, because there's no reason where you guys give your body and your life to the game, and when you're done playing, you're not getting some of the small things in return.
Absolutely. And one more thing I can say about it is, like, for sure, what DG said is we want the money to be able to circulate to girls who don't have the big names too, right? Like, obviously we know Brianna, Angel, but if the money is only circulating with those 10 players that have the name, right? Because Unrivaled is just those players that have the names, the big names. You still have other girls who have names, but maybe the money's not circulating to them, and they have to go overseas where there's wars right now. We got to get the money circulating to these girls and have their names also bought up, because I don't want, fans. I ask guys all the time, name me 10 WNBA players. They can't name me 10, and they're even like, oh,
and there's a lot of them. There's some are nice, and they're like, why is she not on an Olympic team? Why didn't she make it? Arika, she, what I'm saying? I think it might have been by choice, but it's like, oh, who's this chick? She's killing it. She's not, like, she's good. She's been doing this for, what I'm saying? So a lot of these other people deserve that awareness, and also that, the pay should be a little more balanced throughout the league. And I think our league is going through that right now. We have CBA deal where superstars again, and everybody else is kind of, picking up the crumbs. There was a time where the thing was, superstars obviously got paid enough, but the middle guys get paid well too, and other lower guys, it wasn't such a drastic spread between top to bottom. So ultimately, that's what everybody's kind of fighting for. But so hopefully we can get both sides on the right page and in the right direction, and have both leagues running smoothly and thriving, and everyone, being happy in that space. And I think it's only getting better and only getting bigger, especially considering what's going on in the college space today, with NIL. It's crazy times, but it's good. It's good to see.
Angel, I'm going to ask you to use 2 adjectives to describe what you're hoping to see with the Unrivaled League.
Man,
English test right here, boy. Adjectives. Gotta look that up. I know noun is a person, place, or thing. Adjective is a descriptive word. All right.
I forgot what adjective is. Shit.
Let's just give us
2 words.
It would be like challenging or intense, hardcore. A way to describe something.
Descriptive words. This is the best descriptive words of Unrivaled.
You got your adjective is like a descriptive word.
Yeah.
That's not an exact definition, but yeah.
Okay, 2 words to describe the Unrivaled League. I'm gonna just say competitive. Is that an adjective?
Oh yes, yes indeed.
Right, competitive, and I'm gonna say I'm passionate. These girls.
Yeah.
So I think I find that one interesting. I could expect it to be competitive, right? Because this is more 1-on-1. It's not 5-on-5. I don't expect to see double teams. None of that. So it's going to be a lot of individual talent. I think what's interesting when you use the word passionate is because these are newly formed 3-on-3 teams. These are not like this is not Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart playing for the New York Liberty or Asia Wilson playing for the Las Vegas Aces, a franchise that she's been with the entirety of her WNBA career. These are new entities that they're playing for in a new league, but you still think you'll see a lot of passion. Why is that?
Because it's not 5-on-5, right? It's 3-on-3, so more is exposed, and you can't. Sometimes you can hide 5-on-5, right? DJ, you can kind of hide. Play it off. 3-on-3, exposed, baby. I'm saying I'm ready to see some girls trash talk. I even heard they might have a one-on-one. From what I heard, I don't know how true it is. They might have a one-on-one.
You definitely take more pride in your defense when you can't hide. You know, I also think a lot of these women are understanding where the world is going, right? And the trends are going. And in order to make a name for yourself or get the money and sponsorships, you gotta show out in different ways. So this is the best way to show or to make your brand, or, you know what I'm saying, to make a name for yourself. Those that don't have, a lot of these women already have names, but to enhance your brand, to get the sponsors, you show what you're about, not only on the court, but off the court. Like they're going to show up in outfits, they're going to do the tunnel walks. They're going to come in, they're going to talk trash. They're going to, show that they're hoopers, and also can do it in some in a feminine way, some in different ways, but that there's a reason why they're being talked about, because I'm one of the better players out here. You know what I'm saying? Like there's many facets of a brand for different people. Some want to show their, artistic style, unique, whatever, but also how they play. Like I'm a ball handler or
masculine ways, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, but they're gonna show out. And I think this competition, the biggest reason is they don't want to get embarrassed, and they want to show that they belong, and that you can't hide when it's a 1-on-1 or a 3-on-3. And it's like, yo, if a 1-on-1, so and so got cooked. It's like I can't be out here in 1-on-1 letting people know my brand is I'm always getting cooked, in certain scenarios. So
because if you're not good at defense, you ain't got the 5 helping you to help side.
But I think these women know they're looking for the next up. They're looking for the next person to be the face of something, and everybody's looking for opportunity to be like, look, I can be the next face of this, or I can create a brand or my own lane if I show out in every opportunity I step on the floor. Like, I'm that person.
I'm absolutely excited to watch the action. Again, I think you guys alluded to it. When you put 3-on-3, a lot of pride is on the line. It's going to be competitive and it's going to be passionate. Cannot wait for that to take place. Also cannot wait to see how this whole Jimmy Butler thing kind of solves itself in Miami, if he ends up getting traded or if he ends up staying, how Bradley Beal handles it, and also to what else happens in the National Basketball Association in terms of the trading deadline and much, much more. As we said, Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for joining us on this first edition of Inside the Green Room of the 2025 year. Once again, our thoughts and our prayers are out there with everybody who is in Southern California, who is dealing with all of the wildfires. We hope that you are able to find a sense of peace and calm, and best of luck and wishes going forward. With that being said, Angel, thank you for gracing us with your presence to start the year. We started the year off with a bang.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's fun. And for the rest of the end of the show, I'll leave it to Danny. You know what to do.
Yep. Re-rate, subscribe, review, all the good stuff. Y'all take it easy.